I'm Lukasz and this is Space Talks, the place when you can get inspired by a space sector. So let's start with a topic that was always fascinating to me, how to become an astronaut. And this is an excellent question as European Space Agency has just opened its recruitment process for astronauts. In this episode, you will learn more about it. So buckle your seatbelts and let's go. Hello, I have a great privilege to talk with Dr. Anna Fogtman, a crew exploration scientist from European Space Agency, European Astronaut Centre. Hello, Anna.
Hi, how are you?
So, thank you. And I have many questions to you about this new recruitment of ESA. It's an amazing time because we will talk about a very fascinating topic that each of us, almost each of us, and we will see this, can become an astronaut. So my first question is, what are the requirements to become an ESA astronaut? What are the health requirements? What kind of education do you have to have?
Thank you for asking this question. Indeed, ESA is opening new recruitation on the 31st of March, and this recruitation will last for more than a year, and we hope we will have a couple of new astronauts, European astronauts, flying to space missions. And indeed, these people will have to fulfill certain very hard requirements. Of course, we are looking for people from a certain areas with certain areas of expertise. So a hard requirement is to have a master's degree in one of those STEM sciences, so natural sciences, also medicine, engineering, and also certified test pilots will be eligible to apply. Those candidates will have to be also healthy, so free of any diseases, addictions, and psychological or psychiatric diseases. And those people will have so relatively healthy and with a certain area of expertise supported by a master's degree will have the biggest chances to become next ESA astronauts.
So you mentioned STEM. I'm really big fan of STEAM. So my question is, does a humanist have a chance to be selected? I'm a historian, so do I have any chance?
Unfortunately, during this selection, not yet. However, maybe for commercial flights that will arise soon, or maybe within the next elections, those criteria can change as we know more about how to operate in this deep space. We don't exclude, or I personally don't exclude that it can always change. However, this time, only natural sciences and engineering and physics and the areas related to that, as well as test pilots. So, unfortunately, no artists. You have to wait.
Yeah, so I have to wait. Yeah, so let's talk about age then. Can a 20 or 40-year-old become an astronaut?
40-year more likely than 20, and even though that there's no hard lower limit, a person that is eligible to apply has to have a master's degree, which is related to a certain age, as well as 3-year professional experience, which probably means in nominal conditions, this is a person around 27, 28 years old. So rather 20-year-old no, unless he or she is very, very genius and probably finished studies very early in their lives. There is no lower limit. However, there is an upper limit. So people that haven't finished 50-year-old are eligible to apply.
Okay. Now we can see the astronauts up there in ISS. We had seen astronauts on Moon. So the question is, where might an astronaut selecting during this selection process fly? For which flights does he or she have a real chance? Moon? Mars maybe?
Today, we plan for both low Earth orbit missions and the moon missions, and these are real plans supported by financial contributions from the member states. So we cannot say today about Mars. However, of course, Mars is within the future plans. I personally do not foresee that this group of astronauts would fly to Mars. However, there is a real chance to fly on both low Earth orbit mission, probably to the International Space Station, also maybe other space stations that will be there, and to the Gateway Station, which will be orbiting around the Moon. Also, from the station, there are possible missions to the surface of the Moon. So, even though not most probably no Mars, those missions will be very, very exciting and very pioneer. So we do hope to see first female astronaut and first male astronaut from Europe on the moon mission.
That sounds very amazing. And but between missions, every astronaut has to spend some time here on Earth. So what besides spaceflight are the other duties that this astronaut have to fulfill here on Earth?
You know, astronauts spend most of their time on training. This training is very demanding, very long, and it has many stages. So they travel all over the world. They visit all sites of the partner agencies, and they do learn how to operate and solve problems on board of International Space Station. And while we have a gateway in place, also that will be the case for the gateway. However, this is not their only duty. So astronauts accept training on international partner sites. They also train in analog environments where they not only prepare for their missions and for solving very complex tasks during their missions, but also they test new technologies that would help them potentially on the moon or ISS missions. So there are multiple analog environments, including the NEMO underwater environment, including Pangea in the volcanic area, or caves. So they also spend a lot of time on those analog trainings, and also mostly they are also spokespersons for ESA. So they are ESA ambassadors. They have a lot of public outreach, and they do speak on behalf of ESA. They do represent ESA. They do educate about the ESA programs. So this is a big part of their job. So ambassadorship, not only training.
So let's say I'm selected as an astronaut of ESA, and how long can I be an active astronaut? Up to what age?
Well, there is no upper limit. The limit is set by the state of your health. So you have to remain in good health to be an active astronaut, but also by your will. We have to remember that astronauts have really demanding job that requires a lot of travel and separation from their families and friends, and therefore it can be very challenging to sustain this way of life for a very long time. So it's up to you, given that your health is you are in a good health and you pass the medical screening. We saw already astronauts on board of ISS way after the age of 60. So there's place for everyone, as long as they are in good health and are motivated.
I always say that in space there is space for everyone. But let's talk about the recruitment process, the main topic. How this process will look like? What will potentially interested parties have to go through?
So the first stage will be the hard selection based on the hard criteria that were set at the very beginning. So you have to apply with all eligible documents, your CV, your motivational letter, your health certificate, and you have to answer a questionnaire that you will be facing while applying online through this official astronaut selection webpage, ESA career webpage actually. And then when you submit your application, you as a candidate will be considered only when you fulfill all the hard requirements, having master's degree within the certain field of expertise, having a medical certificate that makes you eligible to go further. And after that, the next stages will be psychological and cognitive assessment, which will take place face to face in a remote location. Um, each stage of the selection will take place face to face. At least that's the plan, and hopefully COVID will not complicate that process. And it will be probably multiple different locations. So that will also require from the candidates a quite significant amount of time spent on travel. So I meant psychological and cognitive assessment, and after that, which is usually the bottleneck based on the selection from 2008, there will be medical assessment. And after a medical assessment, the next stage would be face-to-face interview with experts, also assessing your cognitive abilities, the way how you act under stress, behavioral competencies. And after that, you will go to the last stage, which is face-to-face interview with the Director General that will make the final decision about choosing that specific person, or hopefully you, to a group of career astronauts.
So what about people that will not pass? Will there be some sort of, or who will pass actually the recruitment, but will not be selected? And will there be some sort of reserve list for those kind of people?
Yes, so this is the first time ESA will have a reserve group of astronauts. These will be not career astronauts, but these will be astronauts that will remain in their current jobs, whatever those jobs are. However, they will participate in some of the activities of agency. They will have a basic training. So they will have opportunity to train with career astronauts. However, they will not be career astronauts in the sense that they will not be considered for those straightforward half-a-year missions to low Earth orbit or potentially future moon. However, those people will be able to fly to space if a member state that they are coming from will have an additional will to start this initiative of flying that specific person for an additional mission. And then ESA will execute this mission for the member state with the person that will be already prepared for that. Also, theoretically speaking, such a person can take place of a career astronaut that would from the same country that would resign, and then that person could take the spot. And finally, reserve astronauts will be considered at the last stages of the astronaut selection, of the next astronaut selection in a couple of years from now, when it happens. So there are certain advantages of being in the reserve group of ESA astronauts.
But still, as a humanist, I cannot go even to be a reserve astronaut?
Unfortunately, not now. But I really hope for you that in the future it will be possible.
Well, I want to. So let's talk about these things that can be disqualifying for people thinking about becoming ESA astronauts. What is this topic?
So when you have serious health issues, these are definitely disqualifying factors. So there are certain diseases that disqualify you from spaceflight simply because we won't be able to protect you enough when you have this certain disease during spaceflight. Let's remember that the spaceflight itself is a very challenging conditions. The human body is very much affected by microgravity, by increased CO2, and there are many other hazardous conditions and hazards during spaceflight. Therefore, you need to be healthy to face those challenges. So people who have diseases, who are not in good health, who have psychological diseases, or people who have addictions, are definitely not eligible to become an ESA astronaut.
Well, I have addiction to space, but still, I'm not going to this.
That's a
but,
good
okay,
type of addiction.
There was some amazing information inside this recruitment process. There is information about accessibility for people with disabilities. And this is very interesting. Are you recruiting people with disabilities?
This is, well, ESA is a truly international and truly diverse agency, the most diverse space agency in the world. And indeed, ESA makes the first step towards enabling people with disabilities to fly to space. It's absolutely pioneer action. And we have to say that this is a feasibility study, a first step towards flying people people with disabilities to space. We cannot say that we guarantee that a selected para-astronaut would fly. However, agency says that they would work very hard to make it possible, because today our spacecrafts are designed for people without disabilities. However, as Samantha Cristoforetti said in one of in the press conference about the astronaut selection, in space we are all disabled. We have all disabilities, yeah. So we need to assess what we have to do, technologically speaking, what to change to make that possible, because it's the highest time to increase the diversity within the astronauts group.
Yeah, that's really amazing, and that's very good for ESA to announce it. Anna, so thank you very much. But I have one last question to you.
Yeah.
A piece of advice that you can give to any potential candidate who thinking about maybe joining this recruitment process?
Yeah, so I will quote one of ESA astronauts who said recently in one of the interviews, have a plan B. If you don't have a plan B in your life, if the only goal is to become an ESA astronaut because you want to become an ESA astronaut, agency is probably not looking for somebody like you. We are looking for people with passion, highly motivated, but people also who have plan B. Also, this is an advice from my side. If you think that you don't have all it takes from the additional assets to become an astronaut, you should still apply if you fulfill the hard requirements, because there is no single person in this world that has everything that would be possibly desirable in spaceflight. So this will be always a set of certain skills and requirements that will build the whole picture of you. So if you are motivated, just apply and you will see.
So if I'm interested, where should I look for the information about the recruitment and when?
There is a website of ESA about the astronaut selection. So if you Google ESA astronaut selections, it will show you the webpage. And there you will find a link to the carriers webpage where you will be able to apply starting from the 31st of March. And please remember that this selection, this window for applications will end on the 28th of May. Please also remember that you will have to have like a set of prepared documents, and please read the instructions that are put on the web page, because your CV has to be in a certain format. You need to upload the copy of your passport, and there are certain documents you will have to scan and upload So so I address the please go to the careers webpage and read the requirements carefully.
Okay, so thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
I know that you are extremely busy in EAC, so thank you very much once again. And guys, I invite everyone in Europe to take part in this, because this is amazing time. Really, the space has a lot to offer to all of us, and just if you are interested, if you look for these requirements, if you think that you are eligible, just please go to this recruitment page and apply. This will be really a story of your life. Thank you once again.
Thank you.